My mom just said.
All right, whenever you are ready.
Oh.
Don't mind the chip people.
So, as some of you know, I'm the youngest of 4 siblings, Peyton being my oldest brother, who graduated in 2015, which was 9 years ago, so I would have been in 3rd grade. I remember crying whenever we sent him off to Rockhurst like a little baby because partially because I was going to miss my brother, and partially because I was going to be left with my sisters. And I recently got a chance to reconnect with him after not living in the same house as him for 8 years by going snowboarding. So for Christmas, he got me this board. It is a Burton board. It's really nice. It's one of his old ones, and we decided to go snowboarding to Colorado. We went out to a little mountain called Keystone. And before my trip, I'd only ever snowboarded for about 2 hours a year ago. So I was not prepared at all for what was awaiting me. And I got whooped. So my first day, I skied 6.8 miles downhill. There's an app that keeps track of it called Slopes. I got a ton of information from it. If you ever do go snowboarding, I recommend downloading it. It told me things like my highest altitude, how many miles I went in a single run, my top speed, which was 30.1. And that 30.1 ended whenever I crashed onto my head going down a mountain. So the longest hill that I ever did was 3.1 miles, and it was to the bottom of the mountain. So I'm going to show you how I got ready in order to do that. First things first, you need a snowboard, snow boots, a helmet, a visor, and a pair of gloves. Also, you're obviously going to need more winter clothes. Bundle up because it gets extremely cold, especially if it starts snowing while you're on the mountain. The first thing that you want to do is get into your boot. Now, there are 2 different little things to make sure that your boot is tight, because that is one of the most important things while you're on the mountain. There's this, you pull it, and you pull that really tight as you can, because if it's loose at all, it's going to make it extremely hard to control your descent down the mountain, and you will crash, and hopefully not break anything. After you get that, you tighten it into there, and then you start tightening this up. Makes a really loud, obnoxious crank, and you want to go until you can't anymore. Now, before I was allowed to go on the mountain and start snowboarding, my brother had a few rules for me. Number 1, if you fall, don't land on your wrists. He had one of his buddies from high school, Clayton Carroll, I believe, go snowboarding with him, and he broke his wrist in the first 15 minutes by landing and trying to catch himself like this, which I did not listen that well. I fell and caught myself on my wrist a bunch of times, but it didn't break for some reason, which I'm very thankful for. Number 2, don't catch an edge. So make sure that the side that is facing the mountain is down and the side that is facing away from the mountain is up. So if you are facing the mountain going down, you're going to want to make sure that your board is like this, so that way you don't catch right here and then fall on your back and break your neck. In order to tighten up your snow boots onto the board, you want to place it in like this, push it as far back as you can. Whenever I first got in, I tried to tighten it like this, which doesn't really connect the front to the board, so I had to redo it like this. The whole point of doing all of this is to make sure that you can get as snug and as fit into your board as possible, because I've had to, halfway down a run, I realized that I was like 3 inches, my ankles were able to move like 3 inches up, and I couldn't go fast at all, and it hurt like hell on my calves and my quads. In order to prepare for going on a mountain, you're going to want to exercise. Obviously, you're going to want to do a lot of wall sits, do the stair steppers at the gym, get some cardio in, make sure that you're able to go for a long amount of time, because did not go well for me because I'm very out of shape. The longest run that I did was 4.2 miles, and I went down about 2,300 feet, which was a ton of fun. These visors, the front has a protective screen on it, so that way, you don't want to touch it, you don't want to lay down in the snow and get it covered in it because it will ruin it, and then you won't be able to see as you're going down a mountain 30 miles an hour. So you keep it in a protective cloth like this. You're going to want a helmet because you don't want to fall on your head going down a mountain like I did. And yeah.